Vancouver's often rated one of the best places to live in the world. There are no hurricanes here, no tornadoes rip through the city's suburbs. In an era of climate change, Vancouver, even Canada, has been dubbed a haven from the worst of what's to come. The same things that make Vancouver an attractive place to live also make it wildly expensive. Land is at a premium here. And that's put farmers on a collision course with developers, begging the question, in a hotter, more crowded future, how will the city feed itself? Once known as Vancouver's breadbasket, the island municipality of Richmond has evolved into one of the fastest growing residential suburbs in the metro area. Where there was once farmland, new homes, some as big as 11,000 square feet, now line nearby Number 2 Road. It's become a hot-button issue across the city.
My heart broke the first house that was built on Number 2 Road, and it's been breaking ever since. They built the dike in 1907.
Farmer Harold Steeves has been tracking the issue of development for nearly 50 years on Richmond City Council.
It was unbelievable. People just said, we just got to stop this, and that's why we had a change in Richmond Council. People just said, enough is enough. We just can't take that anymore.
Pressure to build new housing is intense. It's projected that 4.3 million will live here by 2050, a 60% increase in a population already reeling under a housing crisis. All the more reason, says Steeves, to save farmland. Could you just tell us about what makes the soil so special here?
The soil here is alluvial soil, probably hundreds of years of grasses and marsh grasses growing in the land as the tides went in and out, adding humus and nourishment to the soil. So this becomes what we call Class 1 soil, the best soil in Canada.
I guess when a lot of people think of soil, they think it's something you can just make in your backyard with some compost and some hay or something like that. Is this really a renewable resource?
There used to be a saying that it takes 1,000 years to make an inch of soil, and I think that's about correct as far as nature is concerned. Only 1.1% of British Columbia is arable enough to grow small fruit and vegetables. That's not very much. You've got to save what you've got.
The Fraser Valley is our local food basin, and it is the most amazing soil we could ever ask for. Which animal doesn't protect their food source? It's insanity.
Every year we hear Vancouver in the top 10, one of the most livable places on earth. People are going to be coming here in droves over the next 30 years. What does that mean for farmers like you?
The more people come here, the more we have to hang on to the land around the urban centers to allow us to continue to grow food.
These farmers are especially vulnerable because they don't own the land they work on, leasing it year to year.
A lot of what we do, our planning and our soil management, happens for next year. Investing money and time into planting a cover crop, all of the kinds of things that you do for good soil management, if you don't know that you have the lease next year, it's really risky. We hear from the local fishermen, the sea level's rising. It's not a theory, we do see that on the ground, and it impacts us. So it's not just the rising sea level, it's not just the changing temperatures, it's the uncertainty of what's going to happen.
People don't believe us when we say the climate is changing, but we've seen it changing here for at least a decade quite dramatically. So if the climate's going to warm up, if we're going to have drought in the American Southwest and in California, and we predicted all of that 30, 40 years ago, then we've got to save the agricultural lands that we have. We can't depend upon other countries to feed us if they're going to be set with drought and a changing climate.
Every Saturday during the growing season, Kimmy and Carano set up a farm stand here in town.
All right, you guys, go for it.
This is so nice.
Customers come rain or shine to pick up fresh, local produce.
All right, let's load it up here.
But people are worried about what will happen to farmers squeezed between creeping development and rising seas.
I think we're at a turning point, and I think if people don't step up and say something, we're going to regret it. If we don't start protecting our farmlands and helping our farmers, we're going to regret it in a very big way. Very, very big way.
The farmers say the issue cuts deeper than a debate over development, and speaks to the growing disconnect between people and the land.
When you have a relationship with land and you see how much we share it with so many beings and how many people we feed, then to think of us not having it or not fighting for it is emotional. There's no getting it back when it's paved over. This is land that is living soil. So, you know, it's living, and we need to treat it like a living organism, and it needs to have rights.
After years of sustained pressure from councillors like Harold Steeves, Richmond is passing a bylaw to restrict the sizes of farmhouses from 11,000 square feet to 5,000. A day before the vote, the BC Minister of Agriculture came out with their own legislation designed to curb the construction of mega mansions on designated farmland.